And hello and welcome into the neutral zone, everybody, here on IE Sports Radio. Adam Karnick and Zach Puplis along with you here tonight. Sorry for the little bit of a delay in getting started. We had some things off air that we were taking care of, and I know Zach was finishing up with some stuff, and I had some kid emergencies to deal with right before the start of the show. And then I'm still getting used to kind of piloting here the YouTube channel as opposed to the audio only Spreaker version. So caused a little bit of a delay, but we are here now. We are ready to go. There's some awesome hockey going on. Zach, how you doing tonight?
I'm great, Adam. How about you?
We're here, we're up, we're running. Well, that's how I'm feeling right now. So
I'm loving all the hockey that's on.
Exactly. And you can follow us. We are on Twitter or X. We are at IESR Neutral Zone. You can also follow of each of us individually. I am at Adam_Karnick. Zach is at the Puplis. There on Twitter. You can follow us there. Of course, IE Sports Radio is available for you on all of the major social platforms. That is, just search IE Sports Radio. And we are brought to you, as we are each and every week, by Planet Jerky, premium brisket beef jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet. You can find them on planetjerky.net. Or you can also visit them on Instagram at Planet Jerky. And also we're brought to you by Seal the Deal Wax Seals with Cecilia B. You find them on Instagram at @SealTheDeal_wax stamps or on Facebook, Seal the Deal Wax Seals. Whew. Well, let's start things off, Zach. Let's dive into, as we typically do, let's look at tonight's matchups going on. We've got two games going on active right now as we're live doing this, and we've got a couple more yet to come tonight. In Carolina, boy, that thing turned, didn't it? The Hurricanes got off to an incredible start, but the Islanders, facing elimination, are not to be denied. At the end of 2, they are tied up at 3 in Carolina. And then meanwhile, over on our sister station, USRN, the game that they are handling tonight, the Boston Bruins and the Toronto Maple Leafs are in a dogfight, deadlocked at 1 apiece with 7 minutes and 27 seconds left in regulation. The Leafs and the Islanders are the ones facing elimination on this elimination night. Then later on tonight, we'll have the Avalanche and the Jets facing elimination there, and the Predators and the Canucks. The Predators are the ones in danger of going home. What's jumped out at you so far tonight with the two games that we've had thus far?
Right. You've heard of Super Tuesday. Well, this is Clinching Tuesday, Elimination Tuesday.
Yes. And if you're if you're on the other side of it, this is Samuel L. Jackson from Jurassic Park Day. Hold on to your butts.
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, I'm assuming at least one of these 4 is likely to clinch tonight. I was thinking about those odds on the way home.
Yeah.
But as much of the story tonight that it is, them trying to clinch, it's also been it's the Bee Gees for the other two staying alive.
Exactly. Yep.
They're doing everything they can in their power to kick and scratch and claw and just trying to stay in this series, and certainly they've done it with tied games both of them tonight.
Yep, absolutely trying to just do everything in their power to do what they can to stay alive. I am the game that the Toronto Boston game, that has been a classic Toronto Boston playoff matchup. The two teams have it's been knotted up for what feels like the entire game. McCabe opened the scoring for Toronto, and then Frederick tied it about 10 minutes after that to keep everything to keep everything even. And then from there, it's just been a dogfight. We've had pileups in front of the nets. We've had terrific saves. We've had everything you would come to expect from a great Maple Leafs Bruins playoff matchup at this point.
Yeah, exactly. On the radio earlier tonight, they were talking about all the injuries that Toronto has, and how you might expect them to just fold up and die, and just okay, well, I guess it's just too much for us. We're gonna have to lose this one and be done for the year. But man, they're coming out swinging.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. And did I see correctly? I'll be honest. I was thinking this before the show started, but then I did not look to see as we've been live here tonight. Are they indeed without Austin Matthews tonight? I know there was very much talk of that.
I'm in the same boat as you are. I've been paying more
Let
attention to
me
the Carolina game.
Let me go. Yeah, there is no Austin. They are without Austin Matthews
Okay.
facing elimination. You, boy, you want to talk about having every reason if you're Toronto to feel like, yeah, you could kind of fold this one up. Yeah, pack it in.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But instead they're hanging tight. They're doing what they can to stay in this. Meanwhile, on the other side, Islanders Hurricanes, this is a tale of two completely different games going on here with the Islanders facing elimination coming back to Carolina. The Hurricanes, I mean, this is about as perfect of a start if you're Carolina as you could have hoped for tonight. Teravainen scored just 90, not even 90 seconds into the game. And then Svechnikov followed that up with his first goal of the postseason not quite 2 minutes later. So you're effectively starting the game 2-0 Carolina. Riley did get halfway there with a goal of his own 40 seconds after Svechnikov made it 2-0. Riley makes it 2-1. Things settled down a little bit, but then Kuznetsov got a penalty shot where he absolutely undressed Ilya Sorkin. Sorkin just pulled Kuznetsov's famous just slow down to the point where he's barely moving. Sorkin finally, I'm going to try to commit here and try to poke check the puck away, and Kuznetsov pulled it right back and dumped it into an empty cage. Just a thing of beauty to watch there. But then it's 3-1 going into the second period. All the momentum was with Carolina. Listen to this stat. At the end of the first period, shots on goal were in favor of Carolina 21-4.
Whoo.
That's just a beat down
going
on there. But then the Islanders they've managed to crawl their way back in it. They converted. Riley's goal came on a power play. So did Svechnikov's came on a power play. But then Nelson and Cizikas managed to tie things up. Cizikas right before the end of the period of the second period. So now you're heading into the second intermission. It's 3-3. You got to be feeling like the Islanders have the momentum here, right?
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Especially with, go ahead.
Well, especially with that last second goal. I mean, there was under a minute left in the second period. And so, if you're Carolina, you're thinking, okay, we just got to get it to the second intermission. And then, we got to get one more period out of the way and we can move on. But not so fast, my friend.
yeah, exactly. Not hold everything here. We're not quite done with you yet. Yeah, absolutely.
Do you think
absolutely.
this is the karma for that other comeback that Carolina had earlier in the series?
Ooh, no, because that was just rip your heart out, stomp on it, skate on it some more, and then throw it into the net. That was brutal.
Was that a 4-0 lead that they blew? I forget.
It was 3-0, but they were up 4-3 with 2 minutes and 40 seconds left to go. And then with 2 minutes and 30 seconds left to go, they were down.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Excuse me. It was 3-2. They were up, and then 10 seconds later, they were down 4-3 before losing 5-3. That's just brutal.
Ouch, ouch, ouch.
That's just brutal there. So that leads us then into, now we've got 4 games going on. We could potentially have 4 series end tonight.
Yes.
But we've already had 2 series end.
I got this one.
All right. Go ahead.
From Sunday, we had the Rangers not only beat the Capitals, but they swept them 4-0. With apologies to Alexander Ovechkin.
Yeah, we're going to get into that later.
Monday, Florida closed out the Tampa Bay Lightning 4-1. The defending Eastern Conference champion, Florida. And yesterday, Vegas and Dallas. Vegas had a chance to go up, 3-1 and have a commanding lead as well as all the other teams today. But nope, that's not the case. That series is all tied up 2-2 as it heads back to Dallas. And it essentially becomes a 3-game series that resumes tomorrow.
Yeah. So as we get into that, what has impressed you the most through the first round to this point? As we have 2 series that are done, potentially 4 more that are going to finish tonight, but then we know that the Stars and the Knights are guaranteed to at least go 6.
Yeah. Well, plus you got LA and Edmonton back in action tomorrow, back in Edmonton. Edmonton looking to clinch the series. They're up 3-1 with Game 5 tomorrow night. So, the biggest takeaway from me, I'd go Florida, Tampa Bay. I thought Tampa Bay would put up a better fight with all the different stars on their team.
Yeah, that was definitely a surprise. I will absolutely say that was a surprise to see. Not just that Florida won the series, but Florida won as convincingly as it did. 3-2, 3-2 in Florida, but then 5-3 in Tampa, and then 6-1 in the final in Game 5. Tampa staved off being swept just barely.
Yeah.
Before, but then ultimately things go Tampa's way.
Florida's way.
Florida's way. We're seeing great things from the Hurricanes tonight. We've seen Vancouver show some resiliency with a double overtime win. We have seen just great hockey being played in the Vegas-Dallas series. That series is just, we like to gear this show as much for new hockey fans as much for seasoned veterans. If you are new to hockey and trying to dip your toe, watch some of that Vegas-Dallas series. That is just some exciting, well-played hockey.
This is bonkers.
Yes. This is probably going to be a boring answer, but sometimes you got to go. Sometimes just because it's boring doesn't mean it's wrong. I've been impressed with the Rangers. The President's Trophy winners. Yeah, it was a sweep of Washington. Now, I'll grant you that was probably the worst draw for Washington in the first round. Washington was a wonderfully troublesome combination of veteran but old and slow team players mixed with young guys that were very green and wet behind the ears and just didn't have the experience to know how to get through how to navigate a playoff series. And that sometimes that can work for you. Sometimes that can just blow up in your face. And in the case of Washington, it blew up in their faces. So, I get that, but the Rangers were impressive. The Rangers were just very impressive in that series to
Yeah.
me. Anytime you get a sweep in the playoffs, even if it's not even if it's in the first round where it's theoretically your easiest matchup, it's still impressive to have that.
Yeah. I'll go one in the East and one in the West then. So the one in the East being Florida, the way they dispatched Tampa, and then in the West, I'm going to go with you. I'm going to say Vancouver. Just again, I mean they've had a miraculous turnaround season that people weren't expecting, and now they've even carried that over into the playoffs.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're bringing it. They're taking it up to the next level. It just like with the Rangers, it does help that Nashville was their first opponent. Nashville coming over from the Central Division, going out west, and that's not a great matchup for the Predators, but it's still, the Vancouver's such a young team and the Predators, they've been through this before. Stupid fish getting thrown on the ice, that still bothers me. But anyway, they've been through this a couple times before. If there was a team that I would have picked as kind of, oh yeah, they could be prime pickings here for an upset, it would have been Vancouver. And to their credit, now they haven't done it yet. They haven't done it yet. They've got to get through game 5 later on tonight. And if they don't do that, you go back to Nashville, and Nashville's going to be feeling some momentum. Nashville's going to be feeling themselves a little bit here. So
good old Smashville.
Yeah, good old Smashville. I wouldn't recommend extending this series if you're Vancouver. Take care of this tonight. Don't let it linger.
Yeah.
Don't let this series go any further than tonight. If you can, knock it out of the park tonight. But
the opposite, don't take the advice of the Cranberries, and we need to not let it linger.
Right. Yeah, exactly. We do not want this thing lasting any longer than it can. If Saros can beat you by himself, don't let him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Like you said, I mean, they'd be playing with fire if they don't finish it off tonight. You got to take your chances while you got them.
Absolutely. You do not want to. You don't want to give anybody a chance to feel like they're giving a second lease on life. You never want to have that. As one of your cats enters the frame there. Hello, Tail.
Right. Oh, don't you like my new mustache?
oh, fantastic. Fabulous. Well, it is hockey season. I guess you are supposed to grow out your playoff beard. So you start there.
Right.
Fast growing, I tell you what.
Hey, man. So I had, before I forget, I had a thought, and I wanted to run it past you. And I don't know. It's just a theory right now, but I wanted to see if there was any merit to it. So I'm looking at all these series that are about to clinch tonight, and okay, well, you've got two in the East, and you got 2 in the West. Plus tomorrow, Edmonton could clinch 2. Well, I mean, I guess, but then that's excluding the Rangers series and the Florida series too, which have already finished. I was trying. Well, I guess it's about even, so it's probably moot. But what I was trying to figure out was, it seemed like there were more series in the West that had gone to clinchability, I guess, if you will, already.
Okay,
like the commanding leads, the 3-1, and I wonder if that had any kind of connection or correlation to the way the standings were at the end of the year. Which was it, the East that was more open, or is it the West that was more open? I think the East was pretty much. Go ahead.
Yeah, the East was very wild right up until the end of the regular season. The West, we pretty much knew who everybody was. It was just a matter of what chair they were going to be sitting in.
Okay, so I wondered if that had any correlation or connection to how tight the races were or lack thereof on both sides. Any thoughts?
I don't know. I mean, you look at it right now. I mean, there's only one series right now that is guaranteed to go 6.
True.
You know, we've had 2 series clinch already, and we've got
the potential for 4 more tonight.
Yeah, the potential for four more tonight in one night and 1 more tomorrow. Yeah, there's only one series that's going to go that we know is going to go long at this point. I don't know if there's a connection there or not. I would say what we're seeing is the tops of divisions, especially, were very strong this year, and I feel like we're kind of seeing that play out. Okay. As we go through this, that I am surprised that Boston has had, we debated this last week of which team do you trust less, Boston or Toronto? And as we normally do without planning it, we both took opposing sides on it. But that series right now does feel like Toronto collapsing more than it does like Boston winning, but it's still, give the Bruins credit, they're taking advantage of Toronto failing to show up.
Yeah. They're absolutely, that was turned into an absolute dogfight tonight.
Yeah. That's having lots of fun. They are going to overtime. They have officially gone into extra time there in that one in Boston, still tied up at 1. So overtime playoff hockey, it does not get better than that.
Yeah. I just went to check on that one because Carolina just got a goal in the meantime.
2 goals.
2 goals. Oh my gosh. Just as I turned away, they got the second one. Wow.
Well, that answers our question of if there was any momentum going into the third period. No.
2 back-to-back that quickly within a minute? Oh my goodness.
I'll get you the official scoring here. Jack Drury scored at the 4-minute and 36-second mark to make it 4-3, and then Stefan Noesen scored at the 4-minute and 44-second mark. So 8 seconds later. That is now twice in this series the Hurricanes have scored 2 goals in under 10 seconds.
Wow. Fast strike offense.
That's I'm sorry. Islanders are done. Islanders are done. That is just stick a fork in them. They are done.
I mean, there's 15 minutes left. We'll see.
Yeah.
There it goes. 2 goals in 8 seconds. Just the ticker just showed that.
How do they, man, if you're the Islanders, where do you find the emotional, you got to get back out on the ice and you got to just do it, but still, oh my gosh.
The resilience.
That's going to be, that's going to be ridiculous. Well, let's take ourselves a quick little break here. And then when we come back, we are going to be talking, we're not exactly an Oilers fan show here, but we do often talk about the Oilers a heck of a lot. So we'll do that. And then there have been some legends of the game that have found an early exit in these playoffs. Is this the last we've seen of a couple of these guys? We will debate that on the flip side here. You are tuned into the Neutral Zone here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. We will be right back after this.
Hey there, IE Sports Radio fans. Be sure to check out our sponsor, Seal the Deal Wax Seals by Cecilia B. You just finished your very own wedding or baby shower invitations and you're looking for that extra special touch? Maybe you just wrote a letter to a relative or a friend and you want to add to their smile when they receive it. Then seal the deal with Cecilia's handmade sealing wax stamps for your invitations, letters, and gifts. You bring the deal, we'll bring the seal. You can find them on Instagram at sealthedeal_wax stamps and on Facebook, Seal the Deal Wax Seals.
Hey sports fans, do you like wine? Well, we've got the show for you. This is Let's Wine About Sports, a show where we talk about wine and sports simultaneously. From the classic Cabernet Sauvignon all the way down to the grapes that you've never even heard of before. Oh yeah, we cover it all. And we'll talk about a little bit of sports as well. Football, hockey, collegiate, women's sports, it doesn't matter. We're going to talk about it all, and we're going to whine about it all. So join me Monday at 8 p.m. on IU Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Davidson.
It's your boy, Dentarius Law.
And we are the hosts of Fast Break here on IE Sports Radio, where we discuss everything in the world of basketball from prep to the pros.
You guys should definitely check us out, man. Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. We got all the basketball information you guys need, so we look forward to you guys listening in.
And please do, because we are the best basketball show on this side of the Mississippi. And please do check us out on Twitter at FastBreakISR. D-Lock, where's our time again?
8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. That give you guys plenty of time on a Sunday.
Tune in.
And welcome back in to the neutral zone here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. So we talked quite a bit about the series that have been a few that have clinched, who's been impressing us the most so far. We swear that we're not an Edmonton Oilers fan show, but at the same time, we're always impressed by them. As Zach, you always talk about how they put up their video game numbers, 7-6, 8-5, 10-4, ridiculous scores like that. And
the best
then
defense is more offense.
yes. They don't care how many goals they give up. They just dare you to keep up with them. Draisaitl, McDavid, et cetera. But then we're scrolling through and keeping up with everything. And we see on Sunday night, the Oilers win a game 1-0. Did they only play for 5 minutes and then stop the game?
Right.
That can't possibly have been a full regulation 60-minute game, can it?
That was a surprise to me too. Quite jaw-dropping.
And not only was it 1-0, Edmonton only attempted 13 shots.
Who are these people?
I know. Now, a lot of that was Los Angeles was playing with its hair on fire, basically.
Yeah.
Doing its best impersonation of the Carolina Hurricanes, just demanding the puck, commanding the puck at all times, deciding that their best defense was a constant wave of offense.
Yeah.
33 shots on net for the Los Angeles Kings. 17 blocked shots for Los Angeles. And Stuart Skinner made all the saves. Now, you know that I'm not big on Stuart Skinner. Do they have they found something here? Did Stuart Skinner find some light switch that we didn't know previously existed?
Right. I think he may have. I mean, we'll have to see tomorrow if it winds up carrying over into Game 5, but very possibly.
Jen B was enjoying hearing herself doing the Wax Seals ad there. Good job by that on the way. Good job with that. So, but I was stunned when I saw the final, the final score. Evan Bouchard, the lone goal, and it was a power play goal. If the Kings could figure out a way to just stay out of the penalty box, and that's been a problem for them for most of the series.
Sure.
But if they could just figure out a way to stay out of the penalty box in this one, they don't give up a goal. They did everything right in the game except win.
Exactly.
Have they stumbled? Do you think that that's repeatable for LA? Let's start there. How much of that is repeatable for the Kings? How much is that was just sheer adrenaline and they emptied their tank and now what have they got left?
Well, I mean, I feel like being down in the series, they're going to play with their backs against their wall mentality, and they're going to fight tooth and nail. If they can do the same thing that the Islanders were doing up until a couple minutes ago, and the same thing that Toronto's doing, then they have a good shot at it, of being able to repeat this. But like you said, I mean, again, backs against the wall, like how close is your tank from being empty? I mean, you gotta dig deep in this one.
Exactly.
Coach speak, euphemisms, all that.
Right. All of the things, and I mean the Kings have played a good series overall here, but Cam Talbot is now, any goalie is going to look bad when you play a best of 7 series against the Oilers. Any goalie has the potential of looking real bad when they're done, but Cam Talbot has struggled in this series, and only stopping 86% of the shots.
Yeah.
And giving up over 5 goals a game. So I can understand where the Kings were, all right, we're at home. We're going to try and take advantage of the situation and last change and all those good things and try to take advantage of home ice one last time and just play puck possession. Can they do that on the road, you think? Because now they got to go back to Edmonton.
Ooh.
Where you lose the advantage of last change. You lose the advantage in the face-off dot because you're having to put your stick down first and declare basically what your strategy is going to try to be first. Can they do that again? Can they find it in themselves to play that brand of hockey again on the road in Edmonton?
Well, I was good, and not to mention a raucous crowd who's looking for them to clinch.
Right. Yeah. The Edmonton crowd that will be just as quick to make us think it's based in Toronto or Vancouver if things don't go well in the first 10 minutes of the game,
Yeah. Yeah. That's they got to have a lot working in their favor for them to get another game like they did the other night. So I'm going to say I doubt they can pull it out again.
I tend to agree with you. I'm kind of sitting there with you. I think the Oilers figure out a way to close this thing out.
Well, we were saying last week we figured that
look who is in the show, Mikey Two Guns. Good evening, sir. Yeah. Oh, yeah. play. There's nothing like playoff hockey, sir. Nothing like. Oh, thank you. There's nothing like playoff hockey. So I understand your stress level is through the roof right now. My best advice for anybody who is experiencing playoff hockey, just ride the wave. Just ride the wave. Understand that it's probably going to take a year off your life. It's also it's great for if your doctor said you need to get in some more cardio work, just watch nothing but overtime playoff hockey, because your heart's just going to be pounding through your chest the whole time. Some of those classic, well, as Mikey well knows, being a Boston guy, the Blackhawks and the Bruins had themselves an epic 3 overtime fest in the Stanley Cup final back in 2013. That was, oh my goodness, that was, I was young enough and at a point in life that I was able to actually stay up for the whole thing, for that triple overtime, and was able to function just fine at work the next day too, for what that was worth.
Right.
I definitely couldn't do that anymore. But
side note, we have a final.
Oh,
Toronto just got the winning goal.
Oh, mine hasn't even updated yet. So the Leafs, Matthew Knies with the goal. Oh, Toronto lives to fight another day.
Mm-hmm.
Lives to fight another day. The Maple Leafs. I'm waiting. I'm trying to be good and not have the game on live, because if I have the game on live, I won't be able to talk or function while doing the show. I'm trying to just keep up with the app, and the NHL app has shown that Knies scored and the time, but they haven't actually shown the score. Now they've got it up there. So it is confirmed. They had to go, ironically enough, they had to go back to Toronto to confirm it. So we do not have a clinch. The first of potentially 4 clinches tonight does not happen.
Yeah. And I think I saw that Colorado and Winnipeg already tied 1-1.
Yeah, that didn't take long at all. Connor Hellebuyck is just having a miserable series.
Oh no, sorry, Mikey.
Yeah. Bruins having good opportunities in overtime, but you've got to get it in the net, and everything, of course, gets tougher. Everything gets tougher in overtime when you get there to it. So, a rough one there for the Bruins. And yeah, you're definitely Mikey's now here for some therapy. Gotta get over it. Well, we'll see what may happen here. We'll try to do what we can for you to alleviate some of your pain a little bit there, as terrific work in net tonight too by Joseph Wall, giving up just the 1 goal in net in place of Samsonov tonight, and played incredibly well. 28 stops on 29 shots, just giving up the 1 goal on ice for the entirety of the game. So 0 for 1 on the clinching tonight. So that will live to fight another day now. So they go back to Toronto then for game 6, time to be determined. The NHL has not set start times for any of the potential game 6s on Thursday yet. It's simple enough. Of they want to know how many they're going to have.
Yeah.
You want to know, are we having 1 of these? Are we having 3 of these? Or are we having 2, 1, 2, or 3 of these? Any of those are possible. I would say they're not going to have 3, as the Hurricanes are just continuing to play keep away.
Right.
Oh, you tied it right at the end of the second period. Oh, that was nice.
Right.
Here, let us just drop in two goals on 2 shots to open the third period. You had that was nice. We saw your momentum and just curb stomped you with it. So, Mikey, it could be worse. You could be an Islanders fan right now. You could be an Islanders fan right now, but if you're so okay, so let's talk about that from Boston's perspective a little bit here. What are you feeling? What are you thinking as you're going now back to Toronto? You weren't expecting to have to make that trip. Is that a must win if you're Toronto? Obviously for Toronto, it's a must win, but if it's for Boston, is that a must win? Do you want to come back home for a game 7, especially after what happened to you last year?
Yeah, I was gonna say you're having a pit in your stomach right now, and you're thinking, okay, we got to get this done right now.
As I'm working on a potential surprise here, just keep going.
Okay, but yeah, pit in your stomach. Got to get this done right now. You're afraid it's going to go. Here we go again.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this is we've seen this song and dance. We've seen this movie before and we don't like the ending. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Like we were talking last week, I didn't trust Toronto. You didn't trust Boston. It's the trust meter game.
Yeah, this really is the trust series, and so far both teams are lacking. That's really lacking in the trust so far. Now, to be fair, Jeremy Swayman also had himself an excellent night. We should not by any means take away from the defense of Boston, especially when Toronto came out hot to try and start that game. Boston had just 2 shots on net the entire first period. That's the first 20 minutes of hockey. Boston only managed 2 shots, but managed to get one of them.
Well, when your star player's hurt, like Austin Matthews is, I feel like there's one of 2 ways that your team can go. One, you decide, guys, this is too much. We're going to pack it in and call it a season. Or the other one is we're going to galvanize around them and rally for our injured teammate.
I was working on a prize and it paid off. Joining us now from our sister station over at USRN, he just got done calling that overtime thriller, Matthew Owens. Matthew, good evening, sir. So not much to talk about in Boston tonight, right? It was a pretty boring game overall.
Oh gosh. Oh my goodness.
It's not like there were any fights in front of the net or there were any, scrums in the crowd, nothing like that,
Oh my Lord. First off, hello.
Hello, sir.
I hope 1 that you can hear me and 2 that my voice will hold up for this.
You're coming in loud and clear, Matthew. Sounds great.
So yeah, there's nothing much to talk about after that. Oh my goodness. Where do we want to start? Joseph Woll, Marchand.
Oh, overtime. Oh, as a newspaper editor for whom I used to work, I'll give the abbreviated children's version of it. When a game goes into overtime, unless somebody either died in the first period, we don't care what happened. Start with overtime.
Okay.
That was the PG version, by the way, too.
Oh.
Well, it didn't last very long. Woll made a great save on, who was it? This just happened 5 minutes ago. I've already forgotten. I think it was Coyle. Made a great save on Coyle, and then like 30-45 seconds later, Matthew Nyes scores the winner off a feed-in type from Tavares. What a game. And, I know we love to kill the Leafs, and for good reason. But
they earn it.
Yeah, they do. But I kept mentioning throughout the night, Boston was in this same spot last year, up 3-1 at home, and then lost Game 5 at home in overtime, and then the collapse started. And that's what's happened here. I don't know how much doubt is in their minds, but you have to think that Joseph Wall's put a little bit of doubt into their minds. I mean, what did he start? 28 of 29 tonight? He was great.
And to come in, he hadn't been playing all series, right? It had been Samsonov up until tonight, right?
Yeah, it had. Yeah, Samsonov played. He had the first 4 starts, and I think Wall played a few in the a little bit in the third period of Game 4, but that was it.
Mikey Two Guns is in the chat, and he's going through all of the stages of grief in real time with us on the show here, as his Boston Bruins. He already informed us he's having PTSD to last year, and he's wanted to know what happened with Marchand getting tackled there by one of the officials on the ice at one point.
Well, Marchand, I think it was Pontus Holmberg. Again, I apologize. When it's happening real time, you can't really remember it as well as you'd like. But I think he was trying to button hook around Pontus Holmberg, and he blew a tire. And then he gets back up, and he just slams into Holmberg. And then the linesman, I think, came in and ran into Marchand. He was trying to separate him, and he ran into Marchand. Ended up going down. Marchand's been getting under their skin all series long, as he does.
Brad Marchand getting under people's skin. I'm shocked, I say.
I know it.
He's such a gentleman on the ice. He's always in the consideration for the Lady Byng trophy. I can't imagine.
They were talking about on NHL radio today how much he likes to chirp at everybody. And yeah, and I'm just glad that the ref didn't get his face licked.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, yeah. But we should also, something else now from this perspective. You're Toronto. You came into this game. You're facing elimination. You're without Austin Matthews. If there was ever a time that obviously the city of Toronto wouldn't have forgiven them, but the rest of the NHL would have kind of been, we can see this coming. Now you're going home. Might they get Matthews back Thursday night? Is there a chance that he could come back?
What's wrong with him? Like, I know everybody's saying there was an illness. Are we believing that he was sick to the point of not being able to play an elimination game as the leading scorer in the NHL for the Toronto Maple Leafs against the Boston Bruins? Are we really believing that? I have a hard time believing that.
All I know, they were saying, they may have to do this without Austin Matthews. I was like, oh, this is the day before, and we're even having this conversation. Oh boy, we're in trouble here.
Yeah, I don't. If it's really just an illness, surely by Thursday he'll be fine, right? I mean, unless I don't know. As always with this club, just drama on top of drama on top of drama. But I mean, I would think he would be back and ready to go by Thursday if it was just him being sick.
So we will see. Now, Zach has been taking to calling this the trust fall series because I don't trust Boston and he doesn't trust Toronto. Where are you in that to get ready for Game 6 here? An unexpected game, but very welcome Game 6.
Settle a fight for us. Settle a debate.
Never trust Toronto. You never trust Toronto.
Yes.
You can have trust issues with Boston all you want, and there's legitimate reasons for it. Now, I think the biggest of that, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the biggest of the trust issues would have been with Jim Montgomery, and does he keep the rotation going in goal? Well, he's already settled that, it looks like. Are there other trust issues other than that? Because I like Boston. I've been on Boston, really since the start of the season. My preseason pick was Boston over Colorado. You never trust Toronto, though. That's the answer.
Oh, see, I was so brazen and bold as the playoffs started a couple weeks ago, said that it was going to be Dallas Toronto in the Cup final.
No, don't do that.
What's that quote? You never go full, stupid. You never go full, Toronto.
Oh man.
One of these years, the fact that Austin Matthews can just score by blinking twice is going to work in their favor. But in the meantime now, so you're Boston, you're having to get back on the road to Toronto. Obviously for Toronto, Game 6 is a must win. Is Game 6 a must win for Boston? If they come back and have to do a Game 7 in the Garden, does that favor Boston anymore, or is that full on? We're remembering last year. There's no end in sight. Toronto now has all the momentum. How does that play out from this point on now?
Well, as I watch my beloved Hurricanes score an empty netter to go up 6-3.
Oh my God!
I was going to ask you about that. We were going to get there.
Yeah, we'll get there. I didn't want to lose my mind on that, but finally that's put away. You would have to think. I mean, they are humans. All of these players are humans. You'd have to think there's something that would be in the back of their mind of, oh God, here we go again. Game 7 at home. We're heavily favored. To your point, I think they would remember that. Toronto's got a lot more memories than just one of losing a Game 7 to Boston. I mean, that's what they do. What's the stat that I have here? That Toronto has not beaten Boston in the playoffs since 1959. Well, there it is. There it is right there. Yeah, that's well timed. Yeah, there you go.
Mikey's very proud of this stat. He's clinging to this stat for dear life right now.
So, I mean, history would tell you that this is all pointing to Boston, and maybe they get it done in Game 6. I mean, they're not going in intimidated, obviously, into Toronto. They know they can. They've only lost to Toronto all year twice, and it's in this series. I don't think they're afraid of the Maple Leafs anywhere. Neutral site if they had to play in Toronto, but I don't think they're afraid of it.
All right. Well, there we go. Asked and answered that. There we go. I am officially the crazy one. I will wear it. I will eat it. That's fine. Usually it's Zach that plays that role. I'm fine to play that role for a little while. I can do it.
I'll chime in. So I think the home crowd advantage still helps, but yeah, I think the players would definitely have that in their head again that, oh my gosh, here we go again. We're going to lose in Game 7, and we had a 3-1 lead, and how can we? Oh my gosh.
Yeah. But now, Matthew, I know that you are a deep lover and supporter of the Carolina Hurricanes. As we see that they are taking advantage of clinching Tuesday and knocking out the Islanders. As it's not official yet, but it may as well be.
All over but the crying.
My first question. Yeah, exactly. My first question: can they wait a little longer than 8 seconds before scoring goals again, or is that just going to be a thing now?
Oh, I'll take it every day. Are you kidding me? We're going to have to play the Rangers. We're going to have to beat them somehow. Yeah, I'll take goals every 8 seconds if you want to give it to me. First off, I feel like I have to keep explaining myself. I mean, everybody picked the Hurricanes in this series, and they probably should have swept. They definitely should have done it in 5, which they're going to do. But a playoff series win, as you guys know, and I don't really know how to word it the best, but a playoff series win in the Stanley Cup playoffs, it's so fragile. And we could have easily lost Game 1. We were outplayed for the entirety of the second period. Early in the third, we could have easily lost Game 1. Should have lost Game 2. The only game where we have been from start to finish better than the Islanders was Game 3. Game 4, we just couldn't get up 2-0. If we could have gotten a second goal, we probably would have swept New York. I keep saying we. Sorry, highly unprofessional on my end. Carolina.
That's all right. We go off the rails. The rails have just given up on this show, so
Yeah.
we could go everywhere.
I know that feeling. And then tonight, again, watching it from afar, we gave up a 2-goal lead twice. So, I mean, it's so fragile, these playoff series. You never know how one bounce is going to change the trajectory of the entire series. And like we've seen tonight, off that face-off, right after they had scored, they get a lucky bounce and they get an easy one. Now the Rangers await. We'll see what happens. It was just 2 years ago they played in the second round, and the Rangers won a Game 7 in Carolina, dominated a Game 7 in Carolina, actually. So I'm looking forward to this series. It's also a series that Gary Bettman and the NHL needs to be looking at to rearrange this playoff format. This is the first and third ranked teams in the league in the regular season, and they're playing a second round series.
I hold that thought. I want you to react to this from Mikey asking about the Dmitry Orlov signing, how he's been panning out, moving from Boston to Carolina. I want you to react to that, and then I have thoughts on how the playoffs are going now.
Yeah, Orlov is playing well, and of course they'll need that blue line depth now with Pesce out, and of course he missed. What game was it that he went out? I think it was Game 2. So he missed the remainder of the series, and we don't know when he's going to be back for the Ranger series. So that is that's good blue line depth. He scored a goal to make it 2-0 in Game 3. But actually, if you can believe it, I think the more impactful former Capital has been Evgeny Kuznetsov, who scored that ridiculous penalty shot tonight. Or he took, a month to take a shot.
As a Patrick Kane fan, I was so proud watching that.
Yeah. So they've both been really good additions. Obviously, they did everything right at the deadline to get Orlov, to get Kuznetsov, to get Getzel, which was the big get, of course. They did everything right at the deadline, which this fan base has been waiting for them to do at some point because, the line the last few years is we like our guys. And, we like our guys too, but you got to do something if you're all in for a cup, which they certainly are this year.
Yeah, absolutely. I will say this in defense of the playoff format, and you could also argue on other sides of the bracket that, hey, this should be a conference final. Hey, that should be a conference final. Why is this being a second round matchup? I mean, if Florida and Boston play each other in the second round, that would, hey, that should be a conference final. What I will say in defense of this, and Zach and I have talked about this a lot on the show, that nothing stirs the pot of a rivalry lot and playing each other in the playoffs. Having a divisional opponent in the playoffs stirs rivalries. And the NHL also, unlike the NBA or the NFL, can't just assume it's going to get television ratings. You have to earn every round of those television ratings. So having compelling matchups in round 1 and round 2, not just the conference final and the cup final, is, I think, a needed evil at the moment for the NHL to, hey, we got to get eyeballs on these. ESPN, if we're going to keep ESPN, which we really want to do, because that's bringing in a ton of money for us. If we're the NHL saying this, you need to keep them happy. You want to keep those premier matchups happening all throughout the playoffs, not just waiting for the biggest stakes. Yeah. Am I wrong, Zach?
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, I feel that ties into what we talked about earlier with, we're not sure what time the games on Thursday are going to be. Because they're not sure how many games they're gonna have Thursday, and B, they're not sure who they're gonna be up against. If you've got these two marquee opponents playing, don't you want that to be your primetime game?
Oh, for a while there, the NHL used to actually, when they did the more traditional 1 through 8 seeding, they used to actually stack games on top of each other, and it was seriously.
What?
Yes, they would start a game at 6:00, and then they'd start another one at like 6:15, and it'd
Oh
be,
my God.
for God's sake, Gary, really?
This isn't March Madness, bro. You're not airing 32 games all in the same day. Like
So I do appreciate at least some semblance of sanity coming in there. So, well, we are gonna wrap up here in just a minute. But Matthew, first of all, thank you for jumping on, especially right after doing the call.
Yeah,
thank you for jumping on and breaking that down. What are your thoughts as Carolina gets ready to take on the President's Trophy winning Rangers? Give us a sneak peek of the second round.
We are going to score 2 goals in 9 seconds every game, every period, and we're going to win 6-2.
I like it. I like it. Put me down. Put me down as a yes. I like the theory.
In all seriousness, can Freddie Anderson keep playing the way he has been? He was really good against the Islanders. The Rangers are a totally different kettle of fish, obviously. And can he keep his head above water against Zibanejad and Panarin and Kreider and all of their weapons? And I have to say, and I've done a good amount of Ranger games the second half of the season. Who on the Carolina side is going to stand their ground against Matt Rempe, I think is a very important piece to this series, because you guys know Rempe's going for heads. He's going for everything. And someone's going to have to stand up to him. You hope from a Carolina perspective that they can just possess the puck and draw the life out of them. Maybe they can. Let's see. I'm just trying to think here. They played, this is off the top of my head stuff. They played a couple of years ago, 7 games. New York won in Raleigh in a game 7. They also played a qualifier series in the bubble. Now that's going pretty far back, where those Rangers were really young. And they've battled for the division the last 2 or 3 years, so they are very used to each other. You shouldn't get many surprises here.
You know, the other thing that they have to contend with too is you're taking a huge step up in class in between the other set of pipes. Shesterkin, he may not be ready yet to wear the crown of King Henrique, but it's right there for the taking.
Yeah, you're right. Well, now, and two, to just try to draw this, to make this picture the prettiest it could be, Carolina's going up a step in class all the way around, but so are the Rangers. The Rangers played like the worst playoff team in the history of the Stanley Cup playoffs in the first round. I mean, Washington was the biggest waste of a spot we've seen, because John Tortorella had his team collapse and then pulled the goalie in the last game when he didn't need to keep Detroit out. So
boo.
Yeah. So both teams are stepping up in class in a big way. The Islanders hadn't been able to score all year. They had the worst penalty kill in the league. Washington couldn't score. They had zero depth outside their first line. So both teams are stepping up big time.
It's certainly going to be an interesting series. Well, Matthew, as we bid adieu to the evening as a whole, Mikey asks, and it's a perfect segue, where can we catch any of the USRN calls on replay, and where can we find you?
Yeah, so if you go to Mixlr.com, that's MIXLR.com, you can listen. That's where you can listen to the broadcast live. That broadcast should be published by now, and listen to it in the recording section of the app or the website. Yeah, I'm just looking at it. It is published now. And at the end of the first round, once the entire first round is complete, we'll have highlights up on the USRN YouTube channel of the goals that we've called in the first round. There's been a lot of them.
Share that with me when you get it. We will want to put that up here as well.
Yeah, one of the games we had was the 7-6 game between Winnipeg and Colorado. That'll take up half the video.
Oh, there you go. There you go. You don't turn around on that one.
Oh no. Hopefully Winnipeg. I do not have that game on right now. Hopefully we can get a couple of game sixes forced here, like Toronto did. Hopefully Winnipeg can. They're tied at 1.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's
they took
almost to
all
the end
of
the first.
they took all of 3 minutes to go 1-1 too. They just goalies are completely irrelevant in that series. Connor Hellebuck decided, I did well in the regular season. Wasn't that good enough?
Yeah, and well, now I will say I am hoping Vancouver closes out Nashville. I've got a soft spot for Vancouver. They've got a great fan base. They're my quote unquote Canadian team, if you will.
And they're playing with house money this year. I mean, they've definitely had a great regular season, and anything else is just icing on the cake.
All right. Well, that is going to do it for our show here tonight. Real quick, a couple of comments in here real quick from Mikey Two Guns. Zach, remind everybody what that team you root for is, and I'm going to plug my ears.
Not the Rangers, but the next step in Patrick Kane's evolution, actually.
See, damn it, don't remind me of that. Stinking Detroit Red Wings. I do love that logo, though. I can't lie on that one. That logo is phenomenal.
Throw it up the wing.
and then Seth Eves. Yeah, we have to have a discussion on this one. Good old Gary Bettman forced us. We're gonna have to re-record our promo for this show. The Utah hockey team doesn't quite roll off the tongue quite as easily as the Arizona Coyotes. So we will figure that out. At the same time, I might just leave it there because there's going to be an Arizona Coyotes team again in about 4 years from now. So we're just futurists at that point.
Eventually, don't you know?
Don't you know? Exactly. Don't you know? Yeah. Exactly. Minnesota. Don't you know? All right. Well, thank you to everybody that listened here tonight, whether it was live here over YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, anywhere you caught us live. Those who are listening on the replay on Spreaker, thank you so very much for coming in and listening. Matthew Owens, thank you so much for jumping on. I literally 5 minutes after the Boston-Toronto game goes final, you're here. Thank you very much, sir. Go drink some lemon tea. Protect those vocal cords. I know how important those are.
Anytime. I love talking hockey, especially when the Hurricanes are winning. Anytime.
All right. All right. For IE Sports Radio, that is Zach. I am Adam. We try to talk hockey and make it somewhat entertaining. We hope you had a good time. If nothing else, well, then come back next week and we'll try to do better. Until next week, we are the Neutral Zone for IE Sports Radio. Everybody have a fantastic night. We will see you next week.